Hey everyone, welcome to the TalkBlock show. My name is Vadim, and today we are diving deep into a story about true resilience, faith, and inner strength. In a world where many look for shortcuts, my guest today proves what happens when quitting is simply not an option. He grew up on farm, served in US Marine Corps, built successful businesses, and survived multiple near-death experiences. And today, he's living mostly paralyzed. He continues to run ventures, inspire thousands, and live by one core rule. It's always too soon to quit. Please welcome entrepreneur, Marine veteran, and survivor, Jay Setchell. Jay, thank you so much for joining me today.
Vadim, I'm glad to be here. It's a pleasure to try reaching out to you and having a conversation with you, sir. Thank you.
My pleasure. So you're joining us from Texas, correct? Today.
I'm on here today. I'm in South Central Texas, and it's going to be a hot day.
Oh
So,
yeah, yeah. No, we here in Vancouver we had like a super hot week, but now it's raining, as always in Vancouver.
well, we had a lot of rain here about 2.5 weeks ago. We had over 30 inches and had
Ah,
rivers flooding, and the lake. We had our local lake came up almost 20 feet in height, and
oh,
we had several people die again. Last year about the same time of the year we had a severe flash floods, and about 35 people died. So we,
oh my
but
God.
now it's sunny and hot, and it'll be 102 or 103 today again, and it'll dry up. But it rains and it suns, and you need both. So
Yeah, that's for sure. Right, right. Yeah. So I have a question to you about your
sure.
farm life and marine discipline. How did farm life and the Marine Corps shape your work ethic? How did it affect your life from the very childhood mm, to who you are now? How do you
Well,
think?
I'll jump right on that. I, I was raised on a pretty good sized farm, what we call a working farm. So some people live on a farm, but they don't work at the farm.
And what
But
what,
we
what
fed
kind
a,
of farm? Like
we
some animals or it's crops?
yeah, yeah, yeah. We had corn and soybeans was our main crops, and we had pretty good sized farm. And we had a lot of cattle. We had different years we would have more hogs than other years,
Hmm.
and we had for about 10 or 12 years we had about 1,000 chickens, which wasn't a lot, but it was enough back in the 50s, and because I was born in the 40s, at the end of the 40s, but that was a lot. I mean, even 200 head of cattle in the 50s, on a regular farm.
Right.
That was a pretty good size, but we ran about 600 head twice a year, so we did about 1,200 head of cattle a year. But so much of it, Vadim, was not. It wasn't what we did.
Hmm.
Although I started feeding calves and collecting eggs and stuff by the time I was 4, and I've got pictures to that effect, and driving tractors by the time I was 7. It was the old school. It was the old days, and it's like when I was being taught how to uh, and showed how to straighten nails out. When you pulled nails out of wood, they would have a bend to them or a curve to them. And we would straighten nails out when I was 5. And by the time I was 6, 7 years old,
Oh,
I was good at straightening out nails. And you put the nail up on an anvil, a steel, big, heavy steel anvil that might weigh 40 pounds, and I can't move it.
and use
And
hammer or how did you do that?
you used a hammer, and you put the nail on it. You take that curved nail, and you'd pound it until it got straight.
Right.
And you'd put it over here. And we had literally pails or buckets of nails. Well, the point is, and some of them were square nails, the old square nails from back in the 1800s and 1700s.
Wow.
And the issue is that I'm trying to get to, that I've learned over the years, it wasn't straightening nails out that was important. It was the fact that you were conserving money that you didn't have to spend to go buy nails, even if they were 10 cents a pound or 20 cents a pound. 20 cents in 1955 was like $10 today.
Right, right.
It's a big difference. So you got to remember, it's just a different period of life.
Oh yeah,
But
oh yeah.
so I was raised in such a way. I didn't get, I've kind of really thought about the word raised. I wasn't really raised on the farm. I was educated on the farm
Educated.
because that's where I grew up, if you want to use the word raised. But it's the word educated. I learned about feeding cattle. I learned about okay, if you got three products you can bed cattle with, and this is informational for anybody that would be listening. If you got straw, you have corn cobs, which is, an ear of corn that's been shelled off. You got a corn cob. And we started using corn stalks. Well, corn stalks are this big around and they're very fibrous. They hold a lot of liquid. You can soak them and they absorb a lot. Well, originally, I remember the straw mow up above the where the cattle were, a lot of the cattle. And we had a lot of cattle, so the straw mow didn't cover all the cattle. But you would kick the straw down and you'd have a big pile of straw and then you spread it out for bedding in the wintertime when it was 25, 30 below zero.
Yeah.
And that straw would absorb some of the liquid and the manure and the snow and stuff like that. But it didn't really absorb much. It's like if you throw 10,000 toothpicks into a bucket of water over a long time, those toothpicks will probably absorb some water, but they're not going to make it dry. They're not going to really make it comfortable, if you will. So corn cobs were a little bit different. They would absorb a little bit more, but they were handy because when you shelled corn and you had corn cribs full, you would have piles of corn or corn cobs as big as houses, twice as big as houses, and several of them, piles and piles of them. So what are you going to do with them? What you can do with them is spread them back in the field, and they just organically turn back into, eventually they become dirt over time. And but what happened was when we were finished combining corn or picking corn, we had all these corn stalks that we would disc into the ground and regenerate, and we use them. They just become dirt again. Or you would plow them under. Well, my dad, in about 1957, we built another barn on the north side of another barn, and it was 80 feet wide it was 80 feet wide and 200 feet long. And then inside of that, on the north end, we built a 60 by 80 foot long and 60 foot wide enclosure, if you will, that would hold corn stalks. So you would take out the dried corn stalks, use a flail chopper that would blow the corn stalks into a self-unloading wagon, take the self-unloading wagon and put it in a blower, and the blower would blow it up in. So we had the corn stalks that were 80 feet long, 60 feet wide, and 25 feet deep. So that's a lot of corn stalks.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But those corn stalks, when we would use them for bedding, one forkful of corn stalks was absorbed more liquid, manure, snow than 10 pickup truckloads of corn cobs and straw. Just 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 one pickup would equal 20 or
Yep.
30. It's not even comparable. So all that being said, in the springtime, when you were cleaning your barn lots out, and ours were all concrete, we had about uh, oh gosh, we had over 80,000 square feet of concrete cattle
Oh,
lot. So
wow.
we had pushing 2 acres of just cattle lot. And then that didn't include the barns and other areas. So it was a pretty good size operation. But when you scoop that up, you put it in a manure spreader, you take it out into the field, you respread it, and all the urine and the manure and the crap, the whatever, all the water, the snow that was left, or maybe it wasn't snow, maybe it was just rain,
Yep.
maybe it was just dry. But what we did is you spread that back in the field and it fertilized the field. So it was a generational recycling, kind of like the cycle of life. Because if you look at it, Vadim, you would plant a kernel of corn, one kernel of corn in the spring when it's 12 or 13 feet tall and it's now got 3 ears of corn on it, and each ear
Yeah.
of corn's got 500 kernels. You've got 1,500 kernels of corn from one kernel of corn, and that is now chopped into silage. It goes in your silos that feeds the cattle that create the poop. You got corn stalks that you've got left over from picking corn that you're using to absorb the manure and the urine and all the other stuff and bed the cattle down. And it just continues on, and then all that gets spread back into the land, plowed under or disked in, and you plant corn again. So in the meantime, the cattle have grown from small to bigger to being what they
Right.
call, you know, going to market cattle. And the next thing is Vadim has a steak, or he gets a hamburger, or he has a roast, and he gets to have supper. So that's a cycle of life. But I was
Oh, yeah.
I learned a lot of that's where I learned a lot. And
And how did you end up joining U.S. Marine Corps? How old you were?
well, 17, 17
17.
years old, and but on the farm, I want to get back to that for just a second. Is you learned a sense of urgency. Things need to
Oh,
be done
for
now
sure.
because the sense of urgency is, hey, there's storms coming in. We got some bad weather coming in. We need to get the crops in. We need
Got
to
to be
get the crops
prepared.
out.
Yep.
You got to be prepared. Be attentive to the weather. Be attentive to the needs of your soil. But responsibility. It's like when I was feeding calves when I was 4 years old. It was, if it is to be, it is up to me, because if I didn't feed them, they wouldn't get fed, because that was my job. It's like if
Right.
I tell you your job is to put gas in your car, and then you run out of gas and you sit there going, well, I don't know what to do. I can't go anywhere because I'm out of gas. Well, that's not my problem. That's your problem. You didn't put gas in your
Exactly.
car. So, so you take all that. Well, then I had a cousin that was in the Marine Corps from 1960 to 64, and I was 14 years old when he got out. And he said, Jay, whatever you do, don't go in the Marine Corps. Do not go in the Marine Corps.
Wow.
Well, that's like telling a kid, don't take a piece of candy from the candy bowl. It's like I go, oh, I got to go in the Marine Corps now. But I had wanted to anyhow, because in here in our country, uh, the Marine Corps is viewed really as the toughest branch of the military, because
Hmm.
we're first in, we're first out. I mean, we're like the special forces where you come from, where you're from originally, and we have our own special forces within the Marine Corps, just like the Army's got the Green Beret, or we've got Force Recon, we got Recon, Force Recon. My son was in Force Recon in the Marine Corps,
Hmm.
and he's 39 now, and he did several years and a couple of enlistments, and he's disabled, got some disability like I do, not as bad, but not good either. But at any rate, I enlisted in the Marine Corps when I was 17, and uh, I learned I didn't spend long in the Marine Corps, Vadim. I died in 17 months and 12 days, and uh,
Oh wow.
but
Yeah.
I started out originally. They didn't. What I really learned in boot camp in the Marine Corps, if you're not aware, the Marine Corps wants to break you down. They want to make you nothing. You are nothing.
Yep.
You're nothing. Okay? I'm nothing. We're all nothing. And they want to build you back up into their image. What do they want? They want someone that's going to follow orders. So that's like marching. When you do a lot of marching in boot camp, it's not marching that you're learning. You're
Yeah.
learning to listen to the sound of command. Like you've got your marching. They call it cadence, like
Right.
left, right, all except they sing kind of a song. Okay, when they say to the left, ooh, everybody needs to turn. Then okay, to the right, ooh, or platoon, ooh, stop, and then shoulder your weapons, clean your weapons. We had to like you get so good at like an M14 that we used in Vietnam. Um, you could I could break down an M14 field strip an M14 and put it back together with blindfolded at nighttime
Oh
in
wow.
less than 30 seconds. Less than 30 seconds. Completely. Ready to fire. Ready to go. But that was what you had to do. So if you learn that, and there's a lot of physicality. When I went through back in those days, you got slugged in the guts. I threw up blood. They punched you in the face. Um,
Yep.
they called you every name that you can think of. There's not a bad word you can think of. There's nothing. They made up bad words to call you,
Yep.
and they did. It was horrific, but it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a big deal. Two things I'd like to comment about boot camp for me, and we boot camp was about 14 weeks long, but we went through it in 9 weeks because they needed bodies in Vietnam. It's kind of like where you came from. You needed at certain times in that situation that you folks got over there, they need you on the front now,
Oh yeah.
you know. And so you're training, but we got all the training, but we went 18, 19 hours, 20 hours a day instead of 14 or 15 or 16 hours a day. So, but we did the same stuff. But
Yeah.
two things that stood out in my mind was we had a platoon commander that took us outside one morning, and he sat there and he said, "Listen," he said, "you pukes, you know, and he called us all our names and typical everything. He said, "We're really hard on you, and we're going to be hard. We're going to get harder because the reason is you may as well get used to it now because over half of you in the next month and a half, two
Mm-hmm.
months, are going to be in Vietnam, and half of
Wow.
you are going to die, and the other half of you will probably come back wounded." Which is in fact true. And
Yeah.
I just got back from a trip 2 months ago that one of the guys I went to boot camp with, well, I saw three, but one of them, he only made it in 5 days in Vietnam and he lost both his legs. So it'd be
Yeah.
like going on your first patrol over in your area and you get killed or
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's just the way it is. First day or last day, it doesn't matter. It just happened. So, but anyhow, but he said, what I want you to do, we want you guys to live. We want you to become trained. We want you to understand. So, but after that kind of got your attention that, hey, I'm telling you, and we're hard on you because a lot of you are going to die.
Yeah.
And they did, and we did. And a lot of you are going to come back wounded, and those that don't come back wounded are going to come back with a different mind train or mindset than what you did before. Now, if you were in the Air Force and you're an air traffic controller in Thailand and you're going out with the hookers at night or you're drinking during the day, it's a whole different world. It's like
Yeah.
you're living in the city and you're just enjoying life, and you talk to pilots up in the sky. you're not out in the combat. You're not out dying. And you got the same ribbons or medals or whatever you want to call them, but it was a different world. And then the other one was, real quick, they took us down to Balboa Naval Hospital in San Diego. And we all got tested. Our blood got tested. I don't know why. They already knew we had blood, or we wouldn't be there. And we'd all had our shots. But they took a unit of blood from all of us, the whole platoon. There was 82 guys in my platoon. And when they took the blood out, the doctor came out, and he couldn't, you can't call you Marines because you're not Marines yet. And they can't call you, I don't know. He just said something to the effect, though, the blood that we have taken from you today, the blood that you have given us, will be flowing through the veins of your fellow Marines in Vietnam within 2 days.
Yeah.
Within 48 hours. So that's kind of it. When you tell that to a 17, 18, 19-year-old kid, you're not a kid. You're not a kid. You're going to go kill. And the thing is that all of a sudden it's like, it's like me telling you, however old you are, that the blood I just took from you now, that you just gave me a unit of blood, a bag of blood, this blood is going to go back and it's going to be going through your cousin's body to help save their lives within 2 days. And you go, it gives you a different mindset. It's like, wow, crap.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Because that could be you. That could be you in 2 months.
Yep. And
a lot of times it was. And so where's that blood coming from? And it's like when I had my second accident, and I had died. They got me back or kept me, or I don't remember coming back from it, but they were putting bodies. They had 2 men up, and they did direct transfusions for their bodies into my body to keep enough blood in me because I bled out. I didn't have any blood left, and so that's it. But I think with that, Vadim, I learned responsibility. When you go in the Marine Corps and you're doing your job, you don't think about your girlfriend and apple pie and back home and all your friends. You think about, I'm concerned about the man in front of me, the man behind me, the man to my left, the man to my right. They are my life. And I am their life.
It's like a different reality, right?
It's a different reality. It's a completely different world. You are separated from that. This is it. This is now. And there's a book out now, or there's a book out that sold millions and millions and millions of copies. To me, there's a little bit of it that's duplicated, but it's called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And The Power of Now talks about, what you've been through in your life is something you should learn from, something you should experience, something that, okay, but that happened then. Okay, whatever you want to do in the future, whatever your dreams are, whatever your goals are, that's in the future. Right now, the only thing that's happening right now is you and me talking. That's the only thing.
Yep.
Whatever we talk about. So that's called the power of now. So the power of now, if you think about it, as you move into the future, if you can take those dreams, if you've written them down or you can remember them and act on them, then they're happening then that's then. So it's kind of it makes me smile reading the book, but it is. It's about now. What is now? And that's what we were just talking about. And Francisco, the gentleman that lost both his legs, he was only on his second patrol. And he was the middle man, and he stepped on a mine, blew him up in the air, lost both his legs. The man in front of him and the man behind him were about 12 to 15 feet out, but the shrapnel killed both of them.
Wow.
And then the point man and the tail gunner both got a little shrapnel, but they were okay. So they got, well, it was, but that was typical. that was typical. And you've seen it or you've heard of it or you've known of it at the same time, different world, different area of the world, different war. But it's going on. And the thing that scares me about today's world, and I'm very involved in a company that does a lot of training as a service for the military, for firefighters, and for law enforcement and SWAT teams, is the drones. The drones, that's it, and robots. That's a scary deal because it's one thing if you say you're going to go out man to man, or the old word I think was mano a mano, it was a Greek term or something, man to man, and go out and fight. Not have somebody sit back drinking a cold beer, running a drone, and he flies it into your head and blows your head off.
Yeah.
That's a scary thing. And we all have them anymore. It's just a bad thing, but that's what I learned that you have to take care of your others, make sure that I have your six, that you're covered, that you're protected, and I'm willing to give my life to save you. But you have to be willing to give your life to save me. And I know some people I saw some people that didn't feel that way in reality. It's like they say they are, but do they really? And a lot of those people would likely get taken out quicker than they should have because they're not going to protect you anyhow. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's like,
I understood.
So but I learned a lot again. But I still, there again in the Marine Corps, it was a sense of urgency, it was responsibility, it's accountability, it's taking care of action and making sure that your weapons are going to work, that everything's clean, that everything's ready to go at all times. That sense of urgency, it's now. I mean,
It's like on farm. It's like on farm. You always gotta be prepared, right?
always be prepared.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I think every man should go through at least 1 year of something like Marines.
Well, I've said for decades that I think everybody should serve their government
Yeah,
or serve their country,
yeah,
not
yeah.
their government. The
Right.
government's a pain in the butt. The government, I hate the government. I I'll say it to anybody. I don't like our government. I don't
Yeah,
like any government because they want to tell you what to do. No, no,
exactly.
no, no, no. You're in charge of the government. But the thing is, I think everybody should serve 2 years in the military and 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 if not the military, something that they're actually serving other people, because there's too many people that want to go up and tell Vadim what to do, and they
Right,
never did it. Who put them in charge? They're
right.
telling you, oh no, you need to pay taxes, you need to do this, you need to do that, and they never did it, and they're never going to do it. But they have the power, or they want the power to tell you what to do. Now, if they had done it, they would have experienced it. They would have understood it.
Yeah,
That's a big difference, you know.
exactly, exactly.
But well, go ahead.
Yeah, a little bit about patience and effort. You say nothing comes free, that it's worthwhile. What is modern society missing about hard work nowadays? How do you think? Modern people, modern society?
I don't think society. It depends on what you term society as. It's kind of like uh, we've got here in America, we've got too many people getting a lot for nothing.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like it's socialism. I don't care what you call it. I'm not afraid to say it. I mean, it's like, well, we've got illegal aliens all over because the
Right.
last administration let them in, and now they don't. Well, okay, you've come over from another part of the world. You are trying, you're working, you're establishing something, you're working towards an end, you're helping people, you have a sense of responsibility, you have ownership, you have all of that. But how many people don't? They
Yeah.
just want a free ride. And we have people coming in and say, oh, well, times are tough. So I want free food, free phone, free this, free housing, free medical, free this. And and then we got people in the government that want to stay in the government and get the vote. So they go, oh, I'll give you free food, free housing, free phone, free
In
this, free
exchange
that.
for a vote. Yeah.
Yeah, for your vote. And
Yeah.
that's the problem. I mean, we worry about. I mean, I remember when we weren't in debt at all, and now I don't know, $38 trillion or something.
Yeah,
And
almost
it's
40 something. Yeah, it's insane.
yeah, I don't, and I just saw in today's, and I don't watch the news. I haven't watched TV in 20 years.
Hmm.
I haven't read the newspaper in 40 years, 45 years. But I see the headlines, but I see that, uh, what was it they were? Oh, that they've now uncovered documents about our past administration, which was Biden, but
Hmm.
he wanted to leave the country in worse shape than he left it in anyhow for whoever was going to be president. But I mean, he never went to the border. They had
Yeah.
200,000 people a month coming across wearing T-shirts, and these people were bringing in diseases, polio, malaria,
Yeah.
things that we've not had in this country in 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 decades.
It's crazy.
You know,
Yeah.
and so in those people, if you were one of those people and they load you, you come across the border, are you going to go back? Are you going to come back and report in a year or 6 months so we can get you registered? Oh yes, I sure am. Yeah, baloney. That's a bunch of crap. And they put you on a plane or they put you on a bus and they sent you to some place in some little farm town, or they sent you to Vancouver and they dropped you off and they kick you off the bus. Now you got 3,000 people in a matter of a month in Vancouver that are from South America that speak Spanish that don't understand anything about Vancouver, you
Yeah.
know, and and or Chinatown area or anything, and but they want free food, and they got little kids, and they got this, and they got that. The sad thing was, in my opinion, is there were quite a few children who came up, but they were like carried along. A lot of them were used because they didn't even know the people that were bringing them. It was a lot of military age men, a lot of
Yeah.
people that were criminals. There was a lot of
Yeah.
people. It was just open borders. So that's just a bad thing. I don't. We could go on, you
Yeah.
know, at no point in the
Yeah.
in the
I understand.
discussion, but
Yeah.
but I something that you had mentioned before was I'll get back into when I mentioned I said I died my second time, and that was a car accident. It was a drunk hit me
Yeah.
almost head on. He got thrown out of his car, um, had no seatbelt on, run over by his pickup truck, and got killed. And I remember leaving my body and being up in the heavens, and uh,
Yeah.
hearing voices
Yeah.
that
That's
could have.
that's what I wanted to talk about next. This facing near death and paralysis. What
Yep.
went through your mind in those
Well,
first dark moments when you?
it's a well. First of all, when I died in the Marine Corps, I was 19 years old. 19 years.
Mhm.
I died. I was in the Marine Corps 17 months and 12 days when I died, and I was undercover covert ops in a criminal intelligence unit. And I'd gone to see a. Well, I didn't go to see him. I just happened to stop by his house. But a guy that worked for me, and he was in another. He was part of my team, my
Mhm.
intelligence team, and somebody found where he was at. They beat him real bad. They cut his head open. His ear was hanging off. Cut him into his neck, and he wasn't doing good. But I had gotten there. I heard his wife scream. They'd only been married 6 months. She'd been there 4 months. I got him in my car to take him to the Naval Hospital to see because he was bleeding out. He wouldn't have laid there for a half hour on the ground. He'd been dead. And But on the way there, we hit a semi, and the truck had pulled out across the road. It didn't have any
Wow.
lights on. There were no markers. You couldn't see it. It was like driving into a black hole. It just,
Right.
and there were cars behind us that one of them was a colonel, full bird colonel in the Marine Corps, and he said, well, I didn't hear him, but I read the police report later. He testified he said no, nobody was speeding. There was no. It was just if he hadn't hit him, we would have. It was just like so. But they got us out. There were three Marines. The last one died June 30th. The last Marine died that helped get us out. I went and visited with him May 10th and cried my heart out because I hadn't connected with him. They thought we were all stayed dead
Yeah.
55 years ago, but we connected about 10 years ago, and we've had some good moments. But he passed away on June 30th. But
Hmm.
but Linda got damaged real bad, head damage, internal damage. She was in a coma 18 months and passed away. I had died. I was out of my body, looking down, very violent, a lot of red, uh, uh, cussing, swearing. The three doctors that were working on me started to walk away. And you notice I just use my left hand. It's the only one that works. I am mostly paralyzed, but this one's all this doesn't do much. But
Yeah.
but they were walking away, and I was cussing and swearing and get back here and all this, and then another one, another doctor, another doctor came in and he started checking me over. And what happened is I had so many busted ribs, and my lungs were punctured in so many places. Ultimately, he cut a tracheotomy here in my throat, and the blood just came up like a whale surfacing. And
Wow.
he pushed more blood out of me, but I had drowned in my own blood. And the reason the other doctors were walking away and I had no heartbeat and I couldn't breathe, number one, I drowned from my own blood, but my heart was so tight and compressed, it couldn't expand, it couldn't beat, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And and when he released the blood and all that, I I still had enough life in me or desire to live,
Hmm.
and that's an important word in life is you got to have a desire to do something, a willingness to fight for it. But I wanted to live so bad. I don't remember after he got the blood out of me. I don't remember ever going back in my body, but I remember about a month later kind of coming out of a coma, but then they put me back in another coma for a couple of weeks. But
Hmm.
my face was ripped off, my jaws were fractured, my head was caved in. Uh, I've got third degree burns. I was all torn up. Um, I only my right wrist and my left elbow are the only two body parts I have, Vadim, that aren't that haven't been fused, rotted, pinned, replaced, broken, or something.
Yeah.
My left foot was turned backwards. My jaw was hanging out over here. Uh, you know, shoulders broken, collarbones, all that.
Yeah.
But when I
That's.
so that was just a long fight, but it was a year in the Naval Hospital. But you just get through it. You got to remember, it's like how have you gotten to your age? You get to your age by every seconds become minutes, minutes become hours, hours become days, days
Right.
become weeks, weeks become months, and time keeps going on. And I just feel a lot of gratitude. I feel blessed that I'm here, that I'm alive. I believe in God. I believe that God put me here on this earth for a reason, and He's still here, and He's still walking
Exactly.
with me. Jesus is walking with me. He's got to be, or I wouldn't be here. Because on July 4th, 1981, I jumped in a swimming pool, feet first, and broke my neck in four places and drowned and was paralyzed from the shoulders down. And I was under the water about 8 minutes till they got me out. and they told me I'd never move again. So that was another whole battle. And I think that's where I realized until that point, Vadim, I I pushed ahead. I charged ahead. I wasn't going to quit. Did I realize God was with me? Yes, but I didn't I wasn't prayerful about it. I didn't
Yeah.
probably sit back and give thanks like I should. But when I was 31 and a half is when I drowned. From that point on, uh, my goal was to walk. And I had a lot of people, I had thousands of people saying prayers for me. I'm an overachiever. I'm an overworker. I'm never going to quit. I'll people tell me, Jay, you're going to keep working till the day you die. I said, no, I'm going to work all the way to the grave. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep trying. But the thing is, if it wasn't for the prayer, and during the week later on in rehab, months later, I might get back an eighth of an inch during the week.
Yeah.
But on Sundays, when I had 5 or 6 thousand people praying for me, and I was praying, I would get back maybe a quarter of an inch or a half an inch. I would get back stuff that I'd never got back during the week. And I think that's the power of prayer. And from that point on is what really changed my life the most and gave me the belief that you're here to help other people. And the more people
Exactly.
you help, the better person you become. The more people that you help throughout your life, the more people you can give direction to, whether that's for health, for finances. Uh, we talked earlier a little bit about being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
why not give you a little bit of advice? Give you a little bit because I've done it. I've started
Of
many
course.
many companies, and it's just something you see and you learn because you know considerably more now than you did 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
So can you
Exactly. For
imagine
sure.
looking back in 20 years and saying how much you thought you knew now? In 20 years from now, you're going to go, wow, I thought I knew quite a bit. I
Right.
didn't know near as. And then you got to remember, you got another 10 or 15 or 20 years. So always, life is a learning process. And if you can share it, Vadim, I think that's the biggest thing. And you said I believe you had mentioned you have another man working with you in your project now,
Yeah.
and that's starting to spread the word. Work with him, help him become better, whoever
Exactly.
that is, and what can you learn to do, and how can you spread the word? It's 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 all about that. It's really it's about helping other people.
Right.
That's what
Right.
the world's about.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So also I have a question. So you still running businesses, right? Is it
Yes,
one
sir.
business or multiple?
Multiple, and the big one right now is that we do training as a service, and then we also do everything with explosions that are non-pyrotechnic, a lot of flame, but it's non-pyrotechnic, smoke, sound, total battlefield immersions for the military. Um, we also do it for fire departments, for law enforcement, and we're not only here in America, we're also now Australia, Germany, UK.
Yeah.
We've now gone global, and it's really exploding. It's growing very quickly. But it's
Wow.
about training. It's about saving lives. It's about how it's like a firefighter. Okay, here let me put it this way. If you take a room that's 10 feet wide and 20 feet long and 10
Hmm.
feet tall, in the past, the only way if you were a firefighter that you could kind of be disoriented is they used fog machines that made it look foggy. Okay,
Right.
But when fog gets hit with water or gets hit with heat, it evaporates. It's gone. It's clear. Okay. Our smoke is non-toxic to role players or to firefighters. You can use it for all sorts of training scenarios. And when our smoke cartridges go off, the smoke goes up like it's heated. It's a thermal layering. It goes to the top
Oh,
and
okay.
fills from the top down. And you can use fire hoses all day long. You're not going to put it out. You're not getting rid of the smoke. You
Yep,
might
yep.
move the smoke around. But we can take that room that's 10 feet wide, 20 feet long, 10 feet high, one smoke cartridge, within 20 seconds, you can't see a thing. Nothing.
Wow.
Okay. Then we use sound, and the sounds we've got such powerful sound systems that, let's say, all this is controlled um, uh, remotely, remote control. So you could be 1,000 feet, you could be 2 blocks away and set off smoke over there, smoke over there, smoke over there. Do you know what a backdraft is? When you open up a door
Yeah,
or a
yeah.
window, okay, and the flame comes out, it seeks the
Right.
air. Okay, we can create backdrafts that are totally shocking
Hmm.
to everybody in the fire world. I mean, amazing. So, but you do that remote control. Okay, I see you, and you're going to be going into start to open the door, and
Mm-hmm.
you're just going. I'm gonna fire it. Boom! I just hit
Yep.
the button. Flame
Wow.
blows the door open. Flame comes out. You're terrified. Now the sound systems. We turn the sound systems on. You, as a fire department or fire chief or a training officer, can choose what you want, and we will
Yeah.
do it. So it can be fire engine sounds, it can be ambulances, it can be
Mm-hmm.
dogs barking, people screaming, it can be the chatter, the noise chatter on your microphone or your hearing aid. But it's so loud, so much smoke, explosions going off, you don't know what you're doing.
Wow.
You do not know what you're doing. You are lost. And that's training. That's
Right.
real training. Because if you can get through that and start to learn it in the real world, now you can it's not pretend. It's not like, okay, you come in the room and I'll pretend like you can't find me. No. When we were up at the FDIC up in Indianapolis, that's the world's biggest fire convention, um, we had a room that we put a dummy in it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody could see it. We did it from behind, and we would put a dummy in a chair or a mannequin, tied it to a chair, and we put a patch on the shoulder. Then we would get a fire, any one of a lot of people wanted to volunteer. So you want to volunteer. You've got to go in there, find the mannequin in the chair and tear the patch off the shoulder and come
Mm.
back out. And you've got 30 seconds out of
Wow.
35 or 40 people that did it the first day, only 3 survived, only 3 found it. That's how, and people came out. And so the fire chiefs, they can see it because on one side we have clear plastic, and they can see the thermal layering and stuff. They can see their firemen or one of their battalion chiefs go into the smoke, but they can't see them. It's
Yeah.
so dense, it's so
Yeah.
thick. So that's real training. And what we just got done with the Air Force, we were out in the southern deserts of New Mexico and southern Arizona, and we had small vehicles going around, and then they were trying to hunt it down with drones, which you're familiar with that word. And
Yeah.
when they did it, if they got close enough, then we can set off a remote explosion that they got the vehicle. Okay, if they didn't, then we don't set it off, and they failed on their mission. So it's we can blow flame, what they call a bleave. It's a boiling liquid evaporative vapor explosion, and
Mm-hmm.
we can blow flame 300 feet in the air, and it's from we started to call it the Moab, the mother of all bombs, which is an American term. And now we call it the beast because that way in the civilian world, they don't get offended by the word Moab.
I see. Yeah. Wow. That's sounds really cool. Wow. I never heard about this industry. Yeah.
It's a yeah,
And,
it's it's very consuming, but it can save lives because if you look at it this way, if I can save if we do a training seminar and or you as a training department, which that's what they're doing, they're buying our equipment and uh, using it, and it's really we're four, five, six, seven sales a day. I mean,
yeah.
big departments, big cities, airports, uh, around the world. We're starting to really, really,
Yeah.
really grow. But if we save one firefighter's life through training, if we can get him to understand the all the noise, all the smoke,
Hmm.
all the fear, all that, and we can overcome that. What if he what if he's able to save 20 lives throughout his career?
Yeah.
We didn't save one life, we saved his life and 20 more.
Oh yeah. So yeah, Jay. So most people retire at your age, but what keeps your fire burning? Like what moves you?
I'm alive.
Hmm.
God's kept me alive. Why should I quit? I mean, I'll be 77 years old, and I've got more going now and more interested in life than I've ever been. I mean,
Wow.
I could get around pretty good, but I can't walk anymore, and I can't use my right arm for much of anything. But it's up here that you think. You use your head, you know, your body, and when you're doing whatever you're doing now for a job, yes, your arms working and your hands working, but you're thinking about it. It's what your intent is and where you're going. It's what you're going to do with your podcast. Where are you
Yeah.
going to go? What do you want to ask? So I God's kept me here. If I'm alive, I certainly could have died. I mean, 5 years ago, I had COVID Delta so bad that I spent 5 months in four,
Hmm.
5 months in four hospitals, and they had told my wife to go home and make funeral arrangements that I will be dead within 3 to 5 days, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't quit. I wouldn't quit. And uh, 2 years ago in June, I got I was in a car accident. I got hit from behind a little bit. It pushed me across 2 lanes of traffic, across
Hmm.
5 lanes of traffic, totaled my vehicle out. They finally got me cut out and got my wheelchair out, got me out. And I had one cut on my leg, one cut. That was all,
Wow.
And so God's got me here for a reason. I believe it with all my heart, and
Exactly.
I'll tell the world. And He's got you here for a reason you know
Oh yeah.
whether
Everything is for a reason, in my opinion.
it yep, and you've got a
Yeah.
purpose, and that purpose is to help other people. That purpose is to to reach out to others, and and I think your purpose changes throughout your life. When you were a boy or young, up to say the age of 8 or 10, your
Hmm.
purpose was to maybe take the trash can out or go pick up something or help
Right.
your dad or your mom or I don't know what it depends. Everybody's different where they're raised. Um, Even farmers are different. Some don't have cattle and some do, and
Yeah.
so and then from 10 to 15 or 15 to 20, my life changed and my purpose changed when I went in the Marine Corps compared to what I did when I was on the farm you know. And when I was on the farm, when I was in high school too, Vadim,
Hmm.
when I was second half of my sophomore year, my junior and senior year, um, I that we had a small agriculture factory that made grain dryers and pickup reels for combines for wheat and oats and soybeans.
Yeah.
And I got out of school 3:45. I started work at 4 o'clock. I worked till 12:30, got home about 1 in the morning, got back up at 5:30, did my chores, helped my dad with his chores, and then I went back to school again. So I got 4.5 hours of sleep for 2.5 years. That's it.
Yeah.
So by the time I went in the Marine Corps, I was used to 20-hour days. It wasn't a big deal. And I was making more money with my hogs, my cattle, my soybeans and my corn crops that I had for ag projects and working nights at a factory than any high school teacher was making. I was making more than the principal was.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
but it wasn't about the money. I was learning. It kept me busy. I learned about life. I learned about cattle. I learned how to feed hogs. I learned about this. I learned about life and death. You know, you see the cycle of life.
Yeah.
It's like where you're at is not as dramatic as it is 300 miles west or east of you towards
Right.
Calgary, for example. Okay, there they have a real winter where it gets 20, 30 below zero and snow.
Oh yeah.
They have a
It's
nice
crazy.
spring. Yeah, they have a nice spring, and the flowers come out. The summer is a little bit warmer and nice and may even be hot. And then the fall, the colors change, and you know, it's like in Banff,
Right.
Banff.
Yeah.
It's beautiful up there.
Oh
I
yeah.
love it, and I've been there several times, and it's gorgeous. But the falls are beautiful. The falls are the best time of the year, in my opinion. Now, some rather maybe like it in the wintertime when everything's covered with snow and the trees are all beautiful. But what I'm just saying is it's a cycle of life, it's a cycle of time. And if you learn that as you get older, and I'm in the winter of my life, I don't have a lot of years left, but I'm going to make the most of them. I'm going to do something with my life. I, I,
Yeah.
I want to I want to achieve something. And whatever I've done, and I've helped a lot of people. I've started a lot of companies. I've profited, but I've not profited at anybody's expense because I think it's
Yeah.
more important to do for somebody and help somebody than worry about making money. Do you need to make money? Yes, of course. I understand that. But it's like I'll share this with you too. It's like being an entrepreneur and working with people. You may have a product or you may have a service or you may have something that you can sell along with what you're doing now for a company.
Right.
But if you're going to explain that to me right now, how do you know I even need it? How do you know
Yeah.
that I want it? How do you know that it's necessary? So the best thing to do is, I would say to you, Vadim, uh, boy, you've got a great operation here. I really enjoy seeing what you're doing, but do you have the time? Would you take a few minutes and show me around your company or your operation and tell me more about it? Well,
Yeah.
sure. You're going to do that. You're going to say, okay, yeah, I'd like to do that. Sure. Well, when I come back, I know more about what you're doing, about your operation, about the direction you're going, the number of people you have working for you, who you're serving, that what product you're
Right.
providing. So now when I go to sell you my product or tell you about my product to see if you're interested in buying it, now you understand that I care about you. So this is what I want to say.
Yeah.
People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
True. Yeah. That's true. Also, Jay, I want to ask, how has faith helped you to go through those impossible seasons of your life? Is it
I,
a big thing in your life, as I have
I,
understood, right?
well, it's we did the Sunday school thing. I mean, I went to Sunday school, perfect attendance when I was a kid, and
Hmm.
we went to church, probably about 30% of the year, but it was it was more about saying saying grace before you had a meal. It's
Yeah.
more about thanking the Lord for your food. It's more about when you go to bed at nighttime, saying a prayer and thanking the Lord for the your day. and for your life and for grandma and grandpa and how things are going. And we hope that Uncle John, who's sick right now, gets better, or what can the doctors help him with? Or, Lord, can you step in and do something? So I, I don't, that's why I said before, faith played and belief in God. I knew they were there. I knew they played a part in my life, but it wasn't until I really broke my neck and got through that and worked my way through that that it really impressed me or impressed upon me
Yeah.
that that's something that's never going to end. Okay? Our countries can come and go. Wars can come and go.
Right.
Wars can start and happen, but God is always there. Jesus is always there. He's with you right now.
Right. Right. Yeah.
He's blessing you, and if it's not God or Jesus you believe in, and maybe it's some other faith, that's up to you. That's up to that person. I understand that. I mean, whether it's Buddhist or whether it's you know whatever, uh, that's up to that person. But
Right.
Jesus is the one that said, "I am the way, and I am the life, and if you believe in me." And why I was here, and that I died for your sins, you shall have everlasting life. Jesus
That's
said
right.
that. Nobody else said that. They didn't say if you say hello or pray 6 times a day, you're going to live forever. No,
Right.
that's not
No.
what he said. So I think that that's what it is. I just believe in it. That's why I'm still going, Vadim. That's why I believe that I can still hang it.
Yeah.
Like you said, I'm going to be 77. Most people a lot of people retire by the time they're 60,
Yep.
62. But why? If you can help other people around the world or in your area or your community and serve other people,
100%. Yeah.
why not do it? Because
Right.
one day you may realize you should have and now you can't, you know? So
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
I think.
That's. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Also, a little like final advice from you, maybe for our listeners. If you could leave listeners with one piece of advice, what is it? Especially maybe for younger
Hmm.
generation, uh, what would be your advice in life about life?
I can't do just one. It might be
Hmm.
two or three. But one of them is I've written a book, Vadim, that's out now. It's doing very, very well. It's called The Strength Within You. It's
Hmm.
Always Too Soon to Quit. And you can find it on Amazon and stuff.
Yep.
It's not a very long read. What it does is it talks about some of my medical things and dying, but it also talks about where you can find that strength within you. Is it in your religion? Is it in your faith? Is it in your family? Is it stuff you've experienced? Is
Yep.
how can you find that strength and then use it to move ahead through all the problems that you're going to face throughout life. So my advice is look for the strength and find the strength within you as a person. I don't care who you are, man, woman, what race,
Yeah.
what country, it doesn't matter. You have a strength within you that you can use to better yourself and help others. And realize it's always too soon to quit. Too many people quit right before they could have had the answer, right
Right.
before they could have solved the problem, right before it was there was the answer.
They were so
And
close, yeah, but they decided to
they quit. So it's
stop.
always too
Yeah.
soon to quit. And then my final thing is that I I think what lies behind us, the things we've been through, the things that have happened to us, and the things that are ahead of us, the things we're going to work on, achieve, and work
Right.
towards are very small matters compared to what lies within us.
Exactly.
Because the strength within you is already in you. It's what you've experienced. It's stuff that God's given you that you've experienced and use that to help move forward in life. And another thing is, I think really is always dream big. Think, have a big vision. Look down the road, but take small steps. Take little steps at a time.
Yeah.
Because if you ever trip and fall, or you ever don't go the right way, you can, if you're taking small steps, you can correct it. You can make it, you can, oh, whoops, I can change that. But if you take big steps and you
Yeah.
fall, you may never get up again.
Exactly.
And it may not be, you may not be able to get back from what happened, you know. So I think that's a lot of it. It's just find the strength within you. It's always too soon to quit. Think about what you've been through and where you're going, and use those strengths to help you. And just there again, never give up. It's
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay, Jay, and where do people can contact you and buy your book? Is it neverquitting.com, as I remember your
well,
website, or?
I do have a website, and it's kind of funny that, you know, when I was looking for a website, Vadim, it's like when I've talked before about it's always too soon to quit. I just don't quit. I won't quit. I don't care. If I can move a millionth of an inch, I'm going to move. I'm going to do it. It's like watching the grass grow. You can't see the grass grow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who you are. You can't see the grass, but all of a sudden the grass needs to be mowed. How did it get there? You know, it's like you know. So you just keep moving ahead. But I typed in "never quit trying," and it came up, and I thought, well, that's crazy, because I doubt that you probably have ever quit trying, and that's why you're doing what you're doing now. You're moving ahead in life. But neverquittrying.com, and there's a little information on there. I'm going to improve the website, but there's a list on there. They can order the book on there. It'll take them to Amazon. There's a link. Um,
Yep.
but I'd be, yeah. And then if somebody would like to reach out and ask me a question or say something,
Yep.
there's a little form on there that says, "Hey, Jay, I just talked to a lady yesterday in California, Northern California. They're looking to buy a bed and breakfast and do some Airbnbs." But the thing is, they want to know about making them handicap accessible. Well, who better to talk to than somebody that's paralyzed and a cripple? You know, I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
somebody that's done it. And we've been a builder and build homes, so I understand that. And so it's just always keep moving forward. Never stop. Have a good attitude. If you're going to be down, give yourself a limit. You know, when you get down someday, when things aren't going perfect, when things are tough, okay, I'm going to be down. I'm going to feel sorry for myself. I'm going to whatever. But give yourself, say, hey, but I'm only going to give myself one day, and then I'm going to get back up and I'm going to go. I'm going to do good again. So, but yeah, neverquittrying.com, or they
Okay.
can find
I'll
the
make
book.
sure I'll attach the link down below, so
Okay,
people could buy a
good
book,
enough.
contact you, talk with you, and yeah. Okay, Jay. Thank you for an incredible conversation, inspiring stories. Yeah. And
Thanks,
thanks
Vadim.
everyone for watching to the TalkBlock show. Okay. And make sure please to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.